So the last thing is the Oltrarno District. Oltrarno District. The district across the river, as it is referred by Florentines, Oltrarno literally means on the other side of the Arno. Oh, Oltrarno. I see. Oltrarno is one of the oldest areas of the city and heavily populated by craftsmen. In addition, the religious community is well represented with the monastery and church of Santo Spirito. Later in Florentine history, the Medici bought the Pitti Palace, connecting it to the Palazzo della Signoria and the Uffizi with a series of secret passages, one of which crossed the upper level of the Ponte Vecchio. The network was a smart investment considering all the different people throughout the Renaissance who had attempted to kill them. Yeah, so they had this kind of secure passage built from the Pitti Palace all the way to the Palazzo della Signoria and the Uffizi, like across the river and down the street a little bit and up to the Uffizi, to the square. And the Palazzo Pitti, intended as a grand display of wealth by Luca Pitti, the Pitti Palace was left incomplete when Luca ran out of money and died in 1472. The severe Roman-style architecture is reminiscent of the craggy stone arches of the ancient imperial aqueducts found outside Rome. Oh, that's it? Okay. So let's go over there, if I can figure out where we're going. It's to the south. Alright, let's go. And I'm pretty sure I can make that. Yep. Okay, so we need to get across the river. It's basically the other corner of the city. So this might take a while to run over there. And I'll turn this on occasionally to see if we can find some feathers along the way. Oh, there's one. Okay, let's go grab the feather because we can. Hey, I see you. Okay, there's this river there. We're not that far away from it. Nope, it's just the one feather. Right, there's a river. And there's a pigeon coop there as well. How do I get across without killing myself? Is that a... No, it's a feather, that's not a pigeon coop. Wow. We found two of them pretty close together. Alright. So there's the river. Let me just keep this on for a little bit. Okay, let's just get down. Hey, get across. Can I get across here? I think I can, right? I can get across there. Maybe onto the pier. No, onto. Why? Why would you do that? Can I climb up? No, of course not. I couldn't get across there anyway, so maybe it doesn't really matter. Alright, so which way should I go? Alright, that worked. So the Palazzo Pitti should be that way. Let's just follow the road.
I've quite a few different accessories too.
Come on, come on. Should be almost there. No, what? No, no, don't climb that. Yeah, what a peculiar man. That's... Hold on. Isn't it supposed to be here?
Keep away, you murderer!
Oh, I'm a murderer, alright. You wanna see me murder someone? You wanna see me murder? Okay, let's not do that. This is the wrong place. Hold on. Hold up.
Help me! Stay back, please!
Hold... Oh, here? Okay, here we go. Palazzo Pitti, here we go. feathers? 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 No, no feathers. Okay, so let's get around to the front. Here we go. Oh, there it is. It's a pretty massive building, isn't it? So there's more room on the other side of the Arno to for people to build a massive palace. And you can see why the Medicis moved across the river, because there's more space here. Alright, so Palazzo Pitti. Palazzo Pitti. Oh, maybe, is that right? Okay, that's right. Palazzo Pitti. Actually, it doesn't... That's not really... Oh, this is the back. Oh, this is the other side. My bad. So that's the side that we can see there. That's pretty accurate, I think. Let's see. The Palazzo Pitti, in English sometimes called the Pitti Palace, is a vast, mainly Renaissance palace in Florence, Italy. It is situated on the south side of the river Arno, a short distance from the Ponte Vecchio. The core of the present palazzo dates from 1458 and was originally the town residence of Luca Pitti. It's a massive house. An ambitious Florentine banker. The palace was bought by the Medici family in 1549 and became the chief residence of the ruling families of the Grand Duchy of Tuscany. It grew as a great treasure house as later generations amassed paintings, plates, jewelry, and luxurious possessions. In the late 18th century, the palazzo was used as a power base by Napoleon and later served for a brief period as the principal royal palace of the newly united Italy. The palace and its contents were donated to the Italian people by King Victor Emmanuel III in 1919, and its doors were opened to the public as one of Florence's largest art galleries. Today it houses several minor collections in addition to those of the Medici family and is fully open to the public. Cool, go see it, guys, quick. Go to Florence right now. Early history. The construction of this severe and forbidding building was commissioned in 1458 by the Florentine banker Luca Pitti, a principal supporter and friend of Cosimo de' Medici. The early history of the Palazzo Pitti is a mixture of fact and myth. Pitti is alleged to have instructed that the windows be larger than the entrance of the Palazzo Medici. The 16th century art historian Giorgio Vasari proposed that Brunelleschi was the palazzo's architect, and that his pupil Luca Vincelli was merely his assistant in the task, but today it is Vincelli that is generally credited. Besides obvious differences from the elder architect's style, Brunelleschi died 12 years before the construction of the palazzo began. The design and fenestration suggest that the unknown architect was more experienced in utilitarian domestic architecture than in the humanist rules defined by Alberti in his book De Factoria. Although impressive, the original palazzo would have been no rival to the Florentine Medici residences in terms of either size or content. Whoever the architect of the Palazzo Pitti was, he was moving against the contemporary flow of fashion. The rusticated stonework gives the palazzo a severe and powerful atmosphere, reinforced by the 3 times repeated series of seven arch-headed apertures, reminiscent of a Roman aqueduct. The Roman-style architecture appealed to the Florentine love of the new style or antica. This original design has withstood the test of time. The repetitive formula of the facade was continued during the subsequent additions to the palazzo, and its influence can be seen in numerous 16th century imitations and 19th century revivals. Work stopped after Pitti suffered financial losses following the death of Cosimo de' Medici in 1464. Luca Pitti died in 1472 with the building unfinished. Well, that didn't work out, did it? The building was sold in 1549 by Buonaccorso Pitti, a descendant of Luca Pitti, to Eleonora di Toledo. Raised at the luxurious court of Naples, Eleonora was the wife of Cosimo de' Medici of Tuscany, later the Grand Duke. On moving into the palace, Cosimo had Vasari enlarge the structure to fit his taste. The palace was more than doubled by the addition of a new block along the rear. Vasari also added the Vasari corridor, an above-ground walkway from Cosimo's old palace and the seat of government, the Palazzo Vecchio, through the Uffizi, above the Ponte Vecchio to the Palazzo Pitti. This enabled the Grand Duke and his family to move easily and safely from their official residence to the Palazzo Pitti. Initially, the Palazzo Pitti was used mostly for lodging official guests and for occasional functions of the court, while the Medici's principal residence remained the Palazzo Vecchio. It was not until the reign of Eleonora's son Fernando I and his wife Johanna of Austria that the palazzo was occupied on a permanent basis and became home to the Medici's art collection. Land on the Boboli hill at the rear of the palazzo was acquired in order to create a large formal park and gardens, which we don't have in the game. Today known as the Boboli Gardens, the landscape architect employed for this was the Medici court artist Niccolò Tribolo, who died the following year. He was quickly succeeded by Bartolomeo Ammanati. The original design of the gardens centered on an amphitheater behind the Cor dei Loggi of the palazzo, the main body of the palazzo. The first play recorded was performed there was Andrea by Terence in 1476. It was followed by many classically inspired plays of Florentine playwrights such as Giovan Battista Cini. Performed for the amusement of the cultivated Medici court, they featured elaborate sets designed by the court architect Baldassare Lanzi. Okay. So there should be a massive garden behind here. Oh, I remember this now. So the front of this thing is this kind of really imposing stone fortress sort of thing. But then the back of it is much lighter and much friendlier. So it's pretty antisocial. So it presents this kind of imposing front to the city. But facing the garden, it's kind of it's still kind of severe, but it's not as severe as the front, right? Look at this. So it's slightly more welcoming at the back than at the front. So it's kind of antisocial. There's bits of plans and drawings there. The court tower and extensions. With the garden project well in hand, Ammanati turned his attention to creating a large courtyard immediately behind the principal facade to link the palazzo to its new garden. This courtyard has heavy banded channeled rustication that has been widely copied, notably for the Parisian Palais of Maria de' Medici de Luxembourg. In the principal facade, Ammanati also created the Finestre Inginocchiate, kneeling windows, in reference to the imagined resemblance to a prie-dieu, a device of Michelangelo's. I don't know what that means. Replacing the entrance space at each end. During the years 1558 to 70, Ammanati created a monumental staircase to lead with more pomp to the Piano Nobile, and he extended the wings on the garden front that embraced a courtyard excavated into the steeply sloping hillside at the same level as the piazza in front, from which it was visible through the grand arch of the basement. On the garden side of the courtyard, Ammanati constructed a grotto called the Grotto of Moses on account of the porphyry statue that inhabits it. On the terrace above it, level with the Piano Nobile windows, Ammanati constructed a fountain centered on the axis. It was later replaced by the Fontana del Carciofo, Fountain of the Artichoke, designed by Gian Bologna's former assistant Francesco Susini, and completed in 1641. So, when you have unlimited money, as the Medicis did, the architect Ammanati can obviously do whatever he likes with the building, and he did a lot of fancy things with it. But that's mostly because the Medicis had a lot of money. In 1616, a competition was held to design extensions to the principal urban facade by 3 bays at either end. Giulio Parigi won the commission. Work on the north side began in 1618, and on the south side in 1631 by Alfonso Parigi. During the 18th century, two perpendicular wings were constructed by the architect Giuseppe Ruggieri to enhance and stress the widening of Via Romana, which creates a piazza centered on the facade, the prototype of the Cordione that was copied in France. Sporadic lesser additions and alterations were made for many years thereafter under other rulers and architects. To one side of the gardens is the bizarre grotto designed by Bernardo Bontellanti. The lower facade was begun by Vasari, but the architecture of the upper story is subverted by dripping pumice stalactites, with the Medici coat of arms at the center. The interior is similarly poised between architecture and nature. The first chamber has copies of Michelangelo's 4 unfinished slaves emerging from the corners, which seem to carry the vault, with an open oculus at its center and painted as a rustic bower with animals, figures, and vegetation. Figures and animals and trees made of stucco and rough pumice adorn the lower walls. The lower passage leads to a small second chamber and to third, which has a central fountain with Giambologna's Venus in the center of the basin, peering fearfully over her shoulder at the 4 satyrs spitting jets of water at her from the edge. Yeah, so grottos, man, with all sorts of fountains and statues and whatnot. Again, it's what happens when you have a lot of money to spend. Houses of Lorraine and Savoy. I don't know if I should read all of this stuff, because this is much later, like in the times of Napoleon and whatnot. So there's galleries, a lot of artworks. Palatine Gallery, Royal Apartments, Gallery of Modern Art, Silver Museum, Porcelain Museum, Costume Gallery. So this thing is massive. The Palazzo today transformed from royal palace to museum. It is in the hands of the Italian state through the Polo Museo Fiorentino, an institution which administers 20 museums, including the Uffizi Gallery, and has ultimate responsibility for 250,000 catalogued works of art. Amazing, man. So much money. In spite of its metamorphosis from royal residence to a state-owned public building, the Palazzo, sitting on its elevated site overlooking Florence, still retains the air and atmosphere of a private collection in a grand house. This is to a great extent due to the Amici di Palazzo Pitti, Friends of the Palazzo Pitti, an organization of volunteers and patrons founded in 1996, which raises funds and makes suggestions for the ongoing maintenance for the Palazzo and the collections, and for the continuing improvement of their visual display. Okay. Florence receives more than 5 million visitors each year, and for many of them the Palazzo Pitti is an essential stop. Okay, somebody copied this from a travel brochure. Thus, the Palazzo still impresses visitors with the splendors of Florence, the purpose for which it was originally built. Okay. So that's the Palazzo Pitti. Well, actually, maybe it's correct, because a lot of that stuff is added on later on. Actually, it's not as big as it's supposed to be, is it? Isn't the real building wider than this? Hold on, let me just go back there. That's wider, isn't it? Hold on, Palazzo Pitti, images. Come on. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11, not 13. I don't understand. I don't understand why they would not. I don't know. Like, obviously, whoever's in charge here decided, hey, proportions don't matter. Proportions, but it does. I think it does. I don't know. Anyway, so the proportions are wrong, but other than that, it's mostly right. So here's the back of it. The back of it is not nowhere near as impressive as in real life, and the gardens aren't very big back here. So the back of it is not quite right. The front of it is kind of right. In fact, it doesn't even line up. Look at this. This staircase. Hold on, this staircase doesn't even line up with the with this statue thing, does it? Wait a minute. So staircase? Yes, the middle of the staircase is here, the middle of the staircase is back there, and that thing is off center. And then look at this staircase here. The center of the building is there. The staircase is off center. What? Who did this? Who's in charge of this? Who do I call? Who do I write a letter to make a complaint about this? Anyway, well, so that is our architecture tour of Florence, or at least, you know, we looked through all the landmarks in the game. So that's it. When we come back, we keep playing the game, I guess. I don't know, man. I mean, I feel like I'm complaining too much. I mean, I'm really grateful that they made the effort to, you know, build these cities and then make this game so we can run around and climb all these buildings. But the fact that they didn't respect the proportions of the buildings, it just it rubs me the wrong way, really. It just kind of it irritates me. Because proportions matter. Proportions matter. Alright, I'll see you guys in the next video.
Why are you here?